What's different in the Trump administration approach that's different from anything we've done in recent memory? Dave, let me start with you.
Well, first of all, thanks as always for the opportunity to the Aspen Institute, to Atlantic Media. These are always stimulating. It's terrific to be on the same stage with you, David, and Peter, and Julia, and a wonderful topic. I would, if I was going to put the bottom line up front, which is what military guys are supposed to do, I would say, and this may be counter to what many think, I think there's more continuity to this foreign policy than there actually is change, with 3 exceptions, and those are climate, clearly different. Trade, we're still not sure, but actually seems to be reverting to the mean, other than having gotten rid of TPP, which the other candidate would have done as well for domestic political reasons. And then immigration, we're still seeing how that will sort out. And then I guess just the general rhetorical ambivalence to continue to lead the rules-based liberal international order, which I think most in here, certainly all of us, I think, believe has served the world really quite well since the end of a 50-year period that had 2 world wars and the greatest depression in world history. Let me back up now a little bit and sort of lay this out. First of all, I think that the national security team is of enormous quality. H.R. McMaster, his deputy, not as well known, Ricky Waddell, West Point Rhodes Scholar, PhD from Columbia University, Reserve Major General, but also a very successful businessman. Both of them, many tours together on battlefields. The same with Jim Mattis, the Secretary of Defense, who I think is off to a very impressive start. If you look at the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, if you look at the battlefield commanders in Iraq and Afghanistan, all of these have enormous experience. And I would characterize them as the kind, a lot of people will say there's a lot of generals. I think we're going to talk civil-military relations tomorrow. And I will make the point then that these are generals who do not see every problem as a nail, and they don't see the solution, therefore, as a bigger hammer. They see solutions oftentimes being not military at all, at the very least, stiletto, precision, or what have you. And so again, I think a very good team. Rex Tillerson, bit of an engineer, certainly takes problems apart, puts them back together, takes his time. Clearly is not someone where you're in risk if you are between him and a podium or the press. But I think, again, and needs a lot of help in that department, and filling it certainly has taken too long. But then Ambassador Nikki Haley, who I think has just been spectacular, and is not someone I think that folks would have predicted right out of the chute would have been as impressive as she is. I think she's really top notch. And then if you look at, okay, let's look at, again, follow the money and follow the troops, follow the decisions. Don't necessarily always follow the tweets. You do need to listen to them, you need to read them. But again, it's about what is actually happening. This is a president who, when Bashar al-Assad used chemical weapons on his people, did not temporize. Within 36 hours, there were 50 or so cruise missiles that hit. It was measured, it was deliberate, pointed, and so forth. And when it was threatened this time, I think Bashar al-Assad took note of that. It's hard to say whether it absolutely deterred something that was in the works or not, but that's how you build American credibility. Building, I think, effectively on the work that was done in the previous administration in the fight against the Islamic State, prosecuting that well. Less known is the different interagency groups that are working on, between state and defense, that are working on how to take this forward in the battle after the battle. We've never doubted that they would defeat the Islamic State with our enabling. The question was always, what happens after? Can you get inclusive governance or not? And there's a lot of effort ongoing there as well. So again, you just take issue after issue. There's a devolution of responsibility that I applaud. Again, in part because I have such confidence in the national security team. There is not micromanagement of troop numbers, yet the troop numbers aren't ballooning. And so I think it's actually going forward in a very measured manner. And again, much more continuity than change. You know, you had lots of disruption. You had a phone call from the Taiwanese president, but ultimately the president adopts the one China policy, embraces it, and Vice President Xi has a relationship, and now there's 4 working groups established that are moving forward so they can address the core issue of North Korea and the other challenges. Certainly missed an opportunity at NATO headquarters when the 9/11 memorials unveiled, reminding us that that's the only time Article 5 was ever invoked was after 9/11, and we did not step up at that moment and guarantee the Article 5 collective self-defense, but ultimately have done that, have reassured our alliance partners in the Far East. So again, I think a good bit more continuity than might be expected if you just, again, read tweets or different statements to the press.